Alright. What's up, everybody? We are here with another episode of Diamond in the Rough, where we watch Ruff try and make weird Terran strategies work. And I say try, pretty often succeed, since he's regularly in the Grandmasters on the North American ladder, and yet he only plays StarCraft his own way. Does not really follow the meta and copy other people's builds. This is him in the top left representing Storm. In the bottom right representing Scythe Esports, a returning player who is known for their creativity, weird play, and unique perspective on the game. This is aGiLe going for a 14 hatchery, which is objectively one of the least efficient openings you could possibly go for. It's so bad. Why would you do that? Especially versus a Terran. Unless you think your expansion's going to get blocked. There's an argument for doing this versus Protoss. If you know they're going to block your base and you're not comfortable taking the third. But an absolutely bizarre choice for aGiLe. Now, don't get me wrong. This is going to be the first of many. He's already done then a spawning pool and then and he's done multiple extractors because he hasn't built an overlord. And now he builds an overlord at 1 minute and 10 seconds. This is such a weird build. Now, he does get a hatch first and an early pool up. But incredibly inefficient, this build. And now he's sending a drone out. I'm so confused. So for those who don't know, aGiLe is one of these players who really figures out how to play the game his own way. He's not even putting any overlords out for vision or scouting at all. He's putting them all in the back corner of his base. To try and understand how aGiLe really looks at StarCraft, you need to basically get your head and put it in a blender and then just like turn that thing on max blending for like a good 10 minutes, and then maybe you'll start to comprehend barely the edge of what aGiLe aims for in aGiLe's games. aGiLe is just a freak. He plays so weird. He has his own understanding, and there are things that just make no sense in his play. Now, the great thing about players in StarCraft is we tend to have these guys outside the meta, and they will do some genius things of their own accord they've made up. This build here is gotta be the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm shitting all over it. Well, why are you casting? Ruff's just gonna dick this guy who's playing efficiently. No. I regularly, last time when aGiLe came back, like a year and a half ago, I remember he had like a stint back on the ladder, and he's recently back again. I haven't played him much. I maybe played him once, I'm not sure. But basically, I played him a whole bunch then. I remember a year and a half ago, and I remember the same thing. I'd look at the replays and be so confused. I'd be like, what is he even trying to do? This build makes no sense. But he'd regularly win, and he does all sorts of just cool, clever, weird things. One of the best queen users. I remember him having just like these crazy like mass queen ultralisk armies with just 100 transfusers, really weird spellcaster usage. Sometimes he'll make a scary army off a surprisingly low worker count. Very good at spreading creep as well, and really a master of engagement sometimes. So aGiLe is one of these, players. There's a bit of a dichotomy of super inefficient play mixed with some really cool details that make him very strong. Now, he's going up against what appears to be Ruff's ghost opening, right? We've all seen this before. Ruff is going to go 4 gases, though. Is he going BCs after this, maybe? 4 gas so early. I don't think he normally would do that if he's doing the ghost drop. Maybe he does. I can't quite remember the timings. Anyway, ghost does come in, and of course, 1 hit and then a snipe. For some reason, those queens were on hold position. Why would your queens just randomly be on hold position there when they're not even in a wall? This is the strange habits of aGiLe, guys. It's so weird watching him play. He doesn't have any gas or link speed, by the way, so he doesn't really have a way of hunting this drone down. The ghost can just micro against these drones. He gets already 3 drones, I think he's managed to get. 2 drones, a whole bunch of mining time, and a queen. And this is just, this isn't really meant to do anything other than hopefully force a response. Those Zerglings should be able to get him. Oh, nice surround there. So the slow Zerglings do get the kill, but this is absolutely bizarre to watch. And I guarantee you this game's going to get weirder because it's a 2-part episode of Diamond in the Rough. Normally, a lot of it is, ooh, what's Ruff doing? But because Ruff does repeat and refine a lot of his builds, a lot of people being like, oh, we've seen this build before, And what's more interesting, I find, in the episodes as we go on in this show is seeing the crazy, weird situations they go and how Ruff navigates all those weird base trades and these positions he gets into. In this case, we kind of have 2 things to and ah about, right? Because we've got this Zerg player who just plays like a complete freak up against him, and it's just so weird on both sides. Now, I gotta say, the creep spread's pretty sick. Already 5 tumors out, looking pretty nice, but it is past 4 minutes. And the gas only now starting to mine and going into Roach Sack. The worker count very unimpressive from aGiLe, of course. Losing the drones and the mining time, not great at all. But Ruff never builds his economy that fast. So he's not the sort of player who's going 3 command centers and is just going to get ahead and overwhelm you with bio, right? So you can afford to be a bit inefficient or a bit slow to build your economy if you can shut down his aggression. And that is something which I definitely would say aGiLe has a very good shot at doing because, like I said, a mixture of weird, inefficient play and super technical details. So aGiLe will set up some awesome engagements. I'm very excited to see what happens when these 2 freaks actually clash in the battlefield. For now, the creep is not missing a beat, is it? And Ruff doesn't have any pressure out there. He's going for a siege tank and a third command center. This is a weird build, guys. Ruff is actually continuing to build SCVs. He usually has, you guys know I criticize him because he's got big gaps in his SCV production very consistently. He never queues up 2 SCVs at a time, which is actually one of those things when you're macroing pretty hard, you do want to queue at least 2 SCVs per command center to make sure there's no gaps. But in this game, I think he's going to just drop that third and keep building SCVs because it's the fastest third we've seen from Ruff in a long time. It looks like it's just Ghost Tank Turtle. And I think it's because he knows he's playing against aGiLe. And aGiLe's a guy that's very hard to attack into. Very good at defending, like I said, very good at his creep spread. This is his first scout in this game, so bizarre play from aGiLe. He does see a tank and some ghosts. The third command center is coming down now. Roach speed and +1, so very basic army setup for aGiLe. aGiLe is still barely ahead in the workers, which against a guy who's building a ghost tank army, a very technical army that's going to scale well, this does not look good for aGiLe. I love that we've gotten to the opera track part of the StarCraft 2 soundtrack, by the way, guys. I think this is like some scene from Wings of Liberty where they're like on the bridge of this ship and the what's his name, Valerian is talking to Raynor. And I mean, let's be real, guys. What is with Blizzard and just putting these like weird sun characters with long hair? It's like wimpy Arthas, but let's be real, Arthas was a bit of a wimp as well. I don't know, man. There's some weird characters in Blizzard games, in my opinion. They're always like these kind of like strange sort of anime character vibe I get from them. But maybe that's just Blizzard. I mean, they did add some stupid light beam battles in the StarCraft 2 campaign. Still the worst thing to go in any fantasy series, in my opinion. You guys let me know. Do you hate it when any fantasy series you're watching, Harry Potter, whatever, they just start like connecting beams of light and having them push back and forwards against each other? I mean, it fits in some shows, in some animes. It doesn't fit when you just try to shoehorn it into any fantasy situation or sci-fi situation you want. And I think way too many things have done that. They even had a moment where that happened in, what was it, in Shang-Chi. I was like, oh, please don't. Thankfully, it was very brief there. But anyways, my hatred of certain campaign and story tropes aside in the sci-fi and gaming universe, this is just Ghost Tank. It's just Ghost Tank macro, guys. Ruff is just building more factories now for more tanks. He's taking the fastest fourth we've ever seen Ruff take. And meanwhile, aGiLe, 7 minutes, not much has happened. He's still only at 60 drones. And you can tell he's kind of just waiting for Ruff to screw up and attack on creep so he can kill his army. But he doesn't have Ling speed. He's got a whole pack of slow Zerglings. His upgrades kind of suck. He's not got a second Evo chamber. His fourth base is so late. So this feels so weird because it's like 2 guys who are waiting for the other player to make a dumb attack versus them. Like building armor is about to finish before the 8-minute mark. This is such a weird game, man. You can tell you got 2 people who think different to normal Zergs and Terrans, and they're trying to play StarCraft their way. And it's like, who comes out on top? I don't know. Roach Ravager comes in. Ooh, the tanks are a little clumped. Focuses down one, biles down the second one. Pretty good creep. Ooh, snipes do punish a few of those Roaches and Ravagers on the retreat, though. +2 Rangers on the way. Overseer will be joining for aGiLe. A couple of Overseers and Overlord speed. And he's going to drone up 12 more workers. I mean, at this point, you got to realize Planetary on the third, tanks and ghosts. aGiLe should probably be going 100 drone and then just like trying to drown Ruff in Baneling Ravager, I would imagine. Trying to get him before he gets too much stuff. But if he can get enough tanks across these bases, these tech labs coming up, that's going to be huge. Ruff is a little supply blocked right now. Of course, he's not used to having such production and economy up so early. Scans to clear the creep, but that creep is everywhere, man. This planetary is not up either, and that could go down. Tank coming down. Can he keep the planetary alive? It's taking a lot of damage right now. Yeah, it's a good lift. You do not want to lose that. Oh, the snipes, though. The snipes with the punish. He does scan a little bit late. Remember, you've got to keep vision. If they get out of vision, the snipe will not finish casting. But he does take out a bunch of Ravagers as long as he repairs that planetary. Remember, he's got building armor. These planetaries have 5 armor. So these Roaches, 18 damage? No. 13 damage. Massive reduction on that. Same for the Ravagers as well. And 28 Zerglings building. But remember, there's no carapace. There's no melee upgrades. Only the single Evo. So going into the Baneling nest right now. Baneling speed has not started. But a 4th base is up and a 5th base. I think aGiLe is realizing this game's going to go for a long time. And so he's moving around, spreading his creep everywhere. I still think aGiLe, with the way he's played this game, would like Ruff to attack him. And I think that's not something you ever want to bank on. Don't get me wrong, in the early stage, Ruff always loves to attack, but you can tell these guys have had a bit of back and forth. They've probably played games before, and there's this weird meta that has arisen between the two of them, where Ruff's like, nope, 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 don't attack into him. His creep's too good, his defense is too good. And aGiLe's like, please attack into me, please attack into me. But now aGiLe's like, fine, I'll build 82 workers. You could tell he didn't want to, but he's gone to that point. He's got the hive, he's gone the pathogen glands. And both players are facing off, and we are seeing a very slow build-up. I'm sure those people watching this were like, where's the action? When's it going to happen? Well, guys, I think we're going to have to just lock ourselves down for another moment. But what you're going to see is much bigger late-game tech switches, I'm sure. Because how do you deal with this Ghost tank? I think Broodlords are amazing versus Ghost tank, especially if you use your Infestors well. You can break the tanks. We've seen a lot of examples of people who don't know how to micro Broodlord Infestor. Let's be real, guys. Zerg players, not exactly known for their micro, mostly known for just smashing their head on the keyboard in battles. Even when I'm coaching Masters players Zerg, sometimes I'm like, dude, you are microing like more than you should. And it's not that micro is bad, it's just that most Zerg players are bad at micro and are lazy and like to A-move, so they're not the most technical when it comes to executing. But if you fungal on the Ghosts, basically not only does it slow them by 75%, we can look at the description there, it also over 3 seconds does 30 damage. So 30 damage, pretty huge, right? But the thing is, because it's consistent damage, every time you take damage, steady targeting the snipe gets interrupted. And it gets cancelled, right? The Ghost cannot take damage while channeling that 1.43 second steady targeting, the snipe as we call it. So basically, if you get hit by a fungal, those Ghosts can't run away. They can't snipe. All they can do is their regular attack, which is of course not their specialty. So these Infestors could be very deadly. No burrow yet for them, so no burrow ambushes. But Creep is denying this base. More Command Center is trying to go down for Ruff right now. Ruff is going to be maxing out soon, getting close to 12 minutes. The Ghosts are coming on forwards. This top right base is mining. aGiLe, he's on 5 bases only at 92 workers, which means he's going to run out of spaces to mine. Yeah, he will soon, as his natural starts mining out in his 3rd. So definitely does need a few more hatcheries. He's only got 15 lava, despite having so many minerals as well. EMP, 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 EMP. Oh, fungal. That's, oh my god. He's just spamming fungals, but he only catches like 3 of the Ghosts there. And a few more Ghosts that couldn't lift up. So he gets a total of 6 Ghosts, but that was some sloppy fungals. aGiLe was just throwing them everywhere, man. Dude, I feel like we just watched one of those guys who thinks he's all gangster. He's like, yeah, you gotta hold the gun on the side. Like, this is how you shoot people. I'm like, why would you? You know you're holding something that it's literally uses a controlled explosion to shoot a projectile, right? Why would you hold it like this? But that's basically what those Infestors were doing. They all bloody had their caps on the side. They were like, yeah, fungal, let's go! Half of them probably shot themselves in the foot there. One of them accidentally shot his own nuts off because it was, of course, tucked into his pants. Too stupid to use a holster. But that is how it works. We've got Infestors on the way. +2 carapace, +1 melee, and +3 range. The triple Evo chamber and a Great Aspire. aGiLe is like, dude, come and fight me on creep, please. Come out and fight me. Ruff is like, yeah, nah. Oh my god, don't attack in there. Whatever you do, don't attack in there. That is unbreakable. That is so many tanks. Good tank count on the top as well. If you can get some command centers up there, that'd be good. I think the tanks should spread across the bases a little more, though. The Ghosts are a little exposed. They could get caught trying to push back the creep. The creep gives such a vision advantage to aGiLe, where aGiLe's just waiting for Ruff to get overeager and make a mistake. He hasn't done it just yet. Obviously, Ruff's been a little more efficient, but here we go. aGiLe's going to get antsy. Oh, there's no way this is going to work out for him, man. The tank count is huge, but oh, those tanks move into the Baneling Roach. And as long as he keeps the planetary alive, this should be okay for Ruff. He loses a few tanks. You got to think tanks expensive. You never want to be losing them. But the unit's lost up. That's so good for Ruff. Ruff's, especially if he gets a 5th base up here, he's going to build 2 planetaries to guard that one. He's already got some tanks kind of half covering it. You can see the tanks are reaching up to here. And these planetaries, of course, will be just reinforcing that area. Behind it, though, if the Broodlords come out right now, Ruff is still just making tanks and Ghosts. He should really be scanning for the army comp. So this is like a cool late game tip, guys. Don't just... I know the creep feels oppressive and it distracts you. I think it's hard because Ruff sees this creep on his doorstep. Literally, it's like it's everywhere in his base. He feels pushed back, but he's got to be scanning for the army right now. And check, because if he sees these Corruptors coming out, he needs to swap into Thors and Vikings to make sure he has something that can fight those Broodlords head on, the Thors especially. But getting a few Vikings overhead is great. One of the best things you can do is get enough Vikings to one-shot a Corruptor or Broodlord. So if you get like about 10 Vikings out, I think they can do that. depending on upgrades, of course. And then you can kind of use the Vikings' range to pick off units. That means the Corruptors have to come forward to defend, and that's where snipes can be really effective. Thor's, of course, going to tank for a while and do really well in the head-to-head versus those units as well. But right now, Greatest Buy is ready. I guess aGiLe is maxed, so he's going to make more Banelings and throw away a bit more army before he does this. He's also... If I were him with this bank, I would build just a bunch of spores and spines everywhere, and I'd be getting rid of 20, 30 drones and just remaxing on an army. Problem he's having is his gas count sucks, right? Because remember, he never took that 6th or 7th base gases. As I said, aGiLe is like really crisp and fast on some things, and there's certain pieces of his macro and play where you're just kind of confused at what he's trying to do. And for me right now, I'm like, dude, you have 10,000 minerals, but you can't remax on gas. You can see he's trying to build the spores, but he's got to get 6, 7 bases of gas up. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to do it. Okay, so the Broodlord transition is coming in now. He's going to start breaking the tank line. What has Ruff got? He's making more ghosts. You've already got 18 ghosts, buddy. I think that's more than enough, especially because he does not have upgrades. That's rough. That is not good. 3-2 upgrades on the way for the Broodlings, and he's only got +1 attack. He doesn't have armor upgrades. His ghosts are going to crumble to Broodlords. But the Broodlings will just do too much damage to them, and that's actually something you don't account for. If you've played Bio into Ghost, your ghosts are much stronger than these Ruff ghosts right now. This is really, really difficult. Ruff's production, by the way, guys, it's 16 minutes in. He's only got 3 factories and 2 barracks, and he's only building 3 more factories. So definitely way too slow to add more production. He can't rebuild this army. That's why he's so careful. aGiLe has 65 lava banked up behind this. The ghosts here trying to veer. I don't think Ruff knows about those Broodlords. There we go. He sees it. Uh-oh. Oh, he's in so much trouble, guys. He's going to try and cloak and run forward. Where are the Overseers? aGiLe didn't bring Overseers! aGiLe does not have his single Overseer on the map against a guy who he knows is massing ghosts, but he is spreading his Infestors out. And if he lands Fungal, it does reveal the units, pulls the Infestors way too far back. Ruff getting some good snipes off. Oh, but he's got to pull back with the ghosts. Pull back. Okay, so 1 or 2 of the ghosts get caught out front. There's 3 planetaries here. That's going to buy him a lot of time. And already an EMP lands on most of these Infestors. Massive micro missteps from aGiLe. No Overseers. The Infestors clumping up way too much and also pulling back as a pack. And that is the classic mistakes. And now I say classic mistakes. Serral did the same thing versus Maru just the other week in King of Battles in the map that he lost there. So he actually did the same thing where he was like, cool, sends his Broodlords forward and then clicks his whole Infestor control group like a full half a screen away so they can't support them. You want to keep a few Infestors right underneath the Broodlords but spread out and the rest back in a pack. And you always want to be manually microing those Infestors forward and throwing out these Fungals, trying to catch them. But if you're only doing that with 1 Infestor at a time, even if they beat you to the punch and get an EMP down, they EMP 1 Infestor and then you pull another Infestor forward. And there's this kind of rotating pattern, which guys, like, if you want to see the expert players who are very deep in that muscle memory, go look at old replays of like, or VODs from Heart of the Swarm of like Snoot playing Swarm hosts, where those Infestors are dodging feedback or dodging EMP, and they're all spreading out and coming forward and trying to lock down units with the Broodlords or for the Swarm hosts that are taking down the opponent. But definitely something, it's a real micro battle because people are like, nah, ghosts just win. It all comes down to the micro. It's a very divisive fight most of the time. Either the ghosts get hit by the Fungal and just killed by the Broodlords and Overseers and stuff, or they EMP all the Infestors and snipe all the Broodlords. It's a real micro battle to see who wins there. Occasionally you'll see a wash where both players trade, but usually it's all about that micro. Now aGiLe still does not have an Overseer up here. They're over there with his army. He should have Overseers up here as well. He can't see these ghosts coming forward. Oh my god, he runs 1 Infestor forward. He did exactly what I talked about. He chains a Fungal on 5 of these ghosts, but there's still 2 planetaries that are tanking most of the Broodlord attacks, and that's really bad for aGiLe. aGiLe needs to try and focus fire the ghosts, but he doesn't have an Overseer here. He's running those Infestors forward. He cops some big EMPs on the Infestors, but he does Fungal a bunch of the ghosts and the Medivacs, and he runs forward with his ground army as well. He's cracking on through. Ruff is in trouble, but aGiLe's broken him. aGiLe's broken him. I did not think he would do it after the first micro in the fight was not good, but his second one, good zoning Fungals. And yes, he panicked and ran forward, but it was still pretty good. Now 6 Thors are on the way, but remember guys, Ruff doesn't have upgrades. He never made upgrades. He's only got +1 army. He's trying to make a fusion core. Ruff does have a lot of money in the bank. A zoning nuke is a very clever idea, and actually he's doing it from that right side. Where are the Overseers? aGiLe sees the ghost. It's right there, buddy. It's right there. You can hit it. aGiLe! aGiLe! He doesn't know where the nuke is! He doesn't know where the nuke is! He turns into it! aGiLe! Oh my god! aGiLe! That ghost just killed 23 units. You might think, oh, 23, I've seen more than that. It was mostly Broodlords and Infestors. 15 Broods and 8 Infestors go down, most of them to that nuke. aGiLe on the cusp of winning the game. He literally could have just A-moved south. He could see the ghost, but his screen must have been centered up here. He must have been looking to the left and going, where's this ghost? Where's this ghost? And then thinking maybe it was at home on his bases. So aGiLe did not see the red dot on his army, loses so much stuff. And remember, guys, his gas bank sucks. He's mining this gas and this gas only now. It's okay, he can remax. I think it's all right for him, but he's mostly remaxed on Zerglings. So he's made a really low tier army, and now Ruff finally having a fire lit under his ass. Triple armory upgrades. And he's, of course, got the single eBay, adding the upgrades for the ghosts. He's still got 12 ghosts out. He's going to try and take a base in the bottom side now. There is a lot of creep tumors there, but he does clear up at least a few of these to clear some space for himself. There's still a big creep schlong in the middle. aGiLe always trying to probe deep up into Ruff's business. Ruff says, no funny business, please. aGiLe says, oh, only funny business, mate. That's what I do. But round 2 of Broodlords, and this one I'm not so sure about. And that's because, guys, the first Broodlord wave is a surprise, right? But now you've got a Ruff who's got a big pack of Thors out, so they'll stand in front and fight those Broodlords. And if there's snipes and ghosts going in as well, that can be huge. On the other side, there is Neural. So if we see a whole pack of Infestors land good Neurals, if you steal like 4 or 5 Thors and turn them against the opponent, it's massive. So the tanks and or the snipes will need to cover the Thors from the Neurals. And the Thors, of course, are potentially snipes will have to cover everything else from the Broodlords. That's a big Broodlord army. It's a very scary army. Now, Blue Flame's also coming in. If he can get just like 5 or 6 Hellbats, maybe 7 or 8 Hellbats mixed in with this army, they'll roast the Broodlings and just kill them with a splash damage, which is very important because the Broodlings actually do a lot of damage. They attack really fast, guys. They attack more than twice a second. So they're basically Zerglings and just going do and really stack up some damage. So they're massive, right? And getting Firebats, Hellbats to just go and burn them down can be huge. aGiLe's still got a very scary force here. I do think aGiLe also has a scarier army. He's oversupplied by building static, building up units, and then canceling the spores. He's actually able to get oversupply in this scenario. Now, Ruff's going to go for a bit of a base trade, goes around here. Broodlord Infest is very slow, but pulling the drones away, so a good move by aGiLe. Ruff's got a base up in the bottom. He's going to try and take bases. He's got another planetary there. So he's still got a very similar gas bank. And remember, these are the gases that I was talking about earlier all game. They're the most important ones because his gas is mining out on his other bases. So this 10,000 minerals is not going to be worth anything if you don't get the gas to stack up. So aGiLe, he sends Sumlings for a bit of a counterattack. They could do good damage because Ruff is pretty much maxed. Oh, great depot raise though. And here we go. This fight's going to be huge, guys. That is a big Thor army. There's lots of ghosts on the left side, though. Oh, he tries to EMP. Doesn't quite get too many of the Infestors. Not the best angle. A lot of the Thors on the bottom aren't doing their stuff, but good EMPs. The ghosts EMP, but then they get ravaged by Banelings. Oh my god, what a messy fight. The ghosts neuter the Infestors and then get destroyed. There's still some Thors here, but the tanks have already done massive friendly fire. And this seems like a good army wipe for aGiLe, who's going to be able to overwhelm this. Just even though Thors beat Broodlords, too many of them died to the tank friendly fire, the Ling Ravager, and the fact that they weren't spread out in a big battle line. Only a few there at a time. These SCVs somehow keeping that wall up. But dude, aGiLe clears this army of Ruff, and if he can quickly rebuild all these bases, get the gases mining again, he's still got more bank to work with. Ruff is so screwed. He's going to swap BCs. Who the hell thinks to swap BCs here? My god. He does have 222 upgrades on the way. He's building some Hellions on the ground. Massling Remax from aGiLe. aGiLe is one of these Zerglings, Zerg players that would love to just shove it in there with these 3/3 Zerglings. You can see this over-eager knob of Zerglings. That's right, guys. When you get a big pack of Zerglings like that, it is indeed called a knob. Technical analysis only on this channel. Hope you guys are learning how to talk about StarCraft here. Just shove that knob right in there. It's going to go after the Hellions. The Hellions, of course, with Blue Flame, though, the counter to Zerglings. So having some Hellions in the mix means heavy Zerglings this late in the game. It's good as a surprise run-by that gets in, trades, does damage. But you don't want to be stuck on mass Zergling this late in the game, especially Zergling and Broodlord against a Terran who's tech switching. You're playing Ruff. aGiLe, remember, has not been scouting much this whole game. Never saw the main base, has no idea about this BC transition that's going on in secret. And he's building a few Ghosts, a few Hellions, but there's nothing that shoots up. He's making Banes and Broodlords on... Remember, he's spending all of his gas on anti-ground units. Oh my god, look, Hellbat. He's just doing little Hellbat drops. Ruff's just like distract. And this is interrupting the gas mining as well. Some of the very little gas mining that's going on right now for aGiLe. The Aliens on the top as well. He's building mass spine crawlers right now, is aGiLe. aGiLe trying to just build spines everywhere. He's so focused on the ground war. He thinks it's going to be a repeat of what's already happened in this game. And I think he actually handled those fights pretty well. But look at this. He's gone and made 14 Broodlords. He's made 14 Broodlords, 7 Infestors. He's got nothing that shoots up. Ruff is like, oh yeah, he has nothing that shoots up. Let's make even more BCs. Ruff is starved for gas as well right now. He's making 4 more BCs, but look at how much gas mining there is for aGiLe. Almost none, even though he should have most of the map control. Now the Broodlords are going to push in right now. I wonder, do the BCs just jump on this army and kill it? Because the thing is, if he goes across and cuts out the gas income or even snipes down the Spire, that could be the bigger play for Ruff. Ruff, we know he loves to hunt down the Spire, so Corruptors can't be built reactively to deal with the BCs. That could be the play. He's got 6 BCs out, 4 more popping in about 30-40 seconds, so he's just biding his time. Hellbats are tearing apart the income. Of course, the natural is getting breached here. aGiLe thinks he's winning this game, but he has not confirmed. He should be wondering, where's the money? Where is Ruff's stuff? I think he's going, oh, I guess he's just broke. I guess I've won this game. Oh, he's out of money. Sweet. That's what aGiLe's thinking right now. He's probably touching himself a little bit. He's probably going, oh yeah. And now the battle cruisers are going to dive. Ruff says, okay, I'm out of time. We got to go. He does queue up 10 Corruptors, but that's all he had the gas for. Even though he had free supply, the Spire is down. And there's still Hellbats denying the mining. Uh-oh. BCs could also kill all of these Broodlords. Guys, what do we got that shoots up? There is 4 Queens, 11 Infestors, which with Neural could be very effective. And all the BCs are teleporting over here. Now, let's be real. If you Neural 11 BCs, or 9 BCs, get them all to Yamato each other straight away, that could be pretty effective. But the thing is, Ruff's gonna be able to potentially, if he gets some scans off, that can be big. You gotta be really quick. You gotta Neural them all. Otherwise, look, one Infested dies. No, nice Neurals. But oh, Ruff already Yamato'd a few of them. He didn't get all the Neurals off quickly enough. And a lot of these battle cruisers are not Yamatoing each other. aGiLe's not using the Yamato. Oh no! Battle cruisers are so much more tanks than damage dealers. And you see there, he didn't even kill a single BC, did he? I don't think he didn't kill a single BC. He damaged a few of them. But if you don't Yamato them, you're not going to get the value out of it. And without the Corruptors to join with that fight, he had to fight with that and Corruptors and Spores all together and the Queens. But now he's got this massive anti-ground army. Ruff can always float buildings away. I mean, that's kind of funny. Command Center goes for a runner. Does a runner into the Spore field. The Corruptors will take it out, but the BCs are going around. There's no Spire rebuilding, which is exactly what aGiLe probably should have rebuilt in one of these bases. Get a Spire down so we can make more Corruptors. And if he could get, I mean, it's only 9 BCs. If you get up like 18 Corruptors, that'd be good. Of course, he saved his Yamato, which is the big problem, I think, here for aGiLe. aGiLe's still not rebuilding his tech because he had to do that before the lair went down. He hasn't even... Okay, so there we go. The lair is now rebuilding because he had to rebuild the spawning pool from scratch up here in the top of the map, then rebuild the lair. And that's why you've got to react so quickly, because the moment the lair goes down, you can't even rebuild your tech. Oh no! aGiLe is coming on in, but guys, he just lost 4 Corruptors to missile turrets by peeing on the command center. He just lost 4 of his only 10 Corruptors. Oh my god, Ruff! Doing it with the cheeky battlecruiser switch in the late game. And aGiLe's trying to restart his tech from scratch. Now, Ruff might not have an income, but does he really need it? As long as Ruff does get on top of this base and kill it, he should be able to just win this game. There's not enough things that shoot up. Now, the Corruptors hunting down the command centers and the buildings is the way to do it, right? You don't actually want to fight the BCs as aGiLe. You want to just run away and don't let yourself get hit by Yamato. Run! No, that's not even the last command center. Get out of there! The Yamatos! Okay, aGiLe's dead. The Corruptors go down. That is going to be that. Those are the last units that shoot up, other than this one Queen who's like, excuse me. No, it's fine. I don't want any trouble. I don't want any trouble. The 9 battle cruisers do not give a shit. Once you enter their territory, you are basically declaring yourself as an enemy combatant. Ruff, he actually got dealt with by the Broods multiple times. The Brood Infestor play from aGiLe was fantastic this game. But just not scouting for the tech switch in this one did make him come undone a little bit. Bit too focused on the ground war, expecting a repeat of what's already happened. And if there's one thing we know about Ruff, expecting him to do what he's already been doing, that's the last thing Ruff's ever going to do. Ruff's whole strategies are always based around tech switching. Oh, okay, so you figured out how to beat my tanks? Bam, I'm swapping BCs. Okay, you're going Corruptors to beat the BCs? Guess what? I got Thors, Widowmines, Ghosts. You know, he's always switching this way and that, trying to make it work. Planetary does get hit by Biles, but the SCV drops out of it and starts repairing it up. The Ravagers will not be able to kill that. I love that aGiLe is trying his little heart out. He's running some buildings around. He's not building hatcheries, though, which is a bit weird. He could build hatcheries all over the map with that 4,000 minerals. But this one's pretty much all but over, isn't it? I think teleport on the face is what Ruff was considering there for a moment. He's like, man, why don't I just teleport, kill all the units? Because that's one way you can definitely make sure he leaves. Spore Crawler just killed a battlecruiser. First battlecruiser to go down in this game. That hero Spore That there, we're going to call Fungal Infection the Spore Crawler. That's his name, Fungal Infection. Spore Crawlers have weird names. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Ruff, for that fantastic game, and aGiLe as well for showing how to dismantle ghosts, tanks, and even winning the fights when some Thors were involved as well with a good fight. But you got to keep scouting. Ruff's always one step ahead. GG, well played, Ruff. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye and good night.